Okay, so in the beginning, you got Mu was the bankers, the original bankers. Mu was the money holders. It's what they called money back then, which is the material, the physical assets. They used to set on the world's physical assets, which could be gold, platinum, nuclear stuff, whatever it could be. Possibly the same stuff today that's very expensive. But they held on to all of that stuff, and they were the number one trade supporters into this world, like exports. Number one export over Tartaria and everywhere else. Mu was the place to get anything you're looking for because Mu was the bankers. Mu had all this stuff. And then after the war, a flood war, well, no, it wasn't the flood war. It was a different type of war. That was just between countries, that type of war, where Mu got nearly destroyed. And they had to move, before getting fully destroyed, they had to move all their assets over into higher lands, which is Tartaria. So they made alliances with Tartaria so they can have a space holder for that land. So they can still keep their stuff and continue it forward on to wherever else they need to make their land as a sitting spot, if that makes sense. So they have it at Tartaria. That's where they built their cathedrals and the big giant places in Russia and Europe and Egypt. The pyramids were already built during that time period. To give you an idea of what type of time frame we're at. We're right on the verge of the peak of all the pyramids were fully built. We're at that period where they're finishing all the pyramids. What they were doing with it, I don't know yet. So these cathedrals were fully filled within, fully filled to the roof. And then after they got it fully filled to the roof of pulling these supplies, like if you think of the Grand Canyons and the USA, Grand Canyons was a mining shop. That's where they did a lot of mining. That was part of Mu. Somehow that area I'm saying is part of Mu. One of the lands that Mu went to gather materials. And that's why the Grand Canyons has been cut down so much. And it looks like a mining operation because of Mu collecting their assets, the world banking. After they got that, that was, they took all that. And then Tartaria, cathedrals were filled. That's how they filled up the cathedrals. Through the Grand Canyons and other different aspects and places. They did a lot of digging, so they pulled out a lot of material underneath their cities, and that's another reason why their cities fell, because they pulled out their own stones that they walk on, pretty much. It's kind of crazy how they did that, but they did it somehow. They pulled their stones underneath their feet, so they dropped their cities like that by accident. And also through wars that caused the disturbance for the soil to fall and collapse on itself too. So plus wars. So at the last final battle, the last war that was coming about, right before that, they pulled up all their assets out of the cathedrals and sent it off to the moon. When they put it onto the moon, that's when Mu was completely flooded under, because that was the last battle, the last world that we used to know in building the pyramids, because each one was a power source and a energy transfer and a sound, sonic speaker. It's a sonic speakers is what they created it for. The pyramids. Every pyramid that's been built across this whole world, anywhere on this earth, from Antarctica to North Pole to anywhere on American lands to Egypt itself, all those pyramids were sonic boomers, meant for sonic sound waves for outer space. For some reason, what they were doing, I don't know what they're trying to do, but there was a reason for it, and that's why they built it. So that was that time period where the flood came in, as in that's when the water world came in, and we are living on the water world. Everyone in this life that's still here with a spirit and is alive. Your spirit used to went through the water world. People used to either lived as the animal of the fishes under the sea to people living on the tops of waters floating along the seashore. And, well, there's no seashore because everything is above water.
You said one pyramid had a little piece sticking out.
Yeah, the pyramid on Egypt, to give you an idea how high this water was all the way around the world on average, because for some reason the world's not very well leveled with a round ball water floating, so it's like some areas is higher than others. But on the pyramids where Egypt is at, there's one pyramid that got a little top pyramid peak on the very top, and that's where it's like untouched by any water or any type of destruction or whatever. Well, that's how high the water has risen at the time period, is that high. I say from the other pyramid, there might have been another peak on that, but it's much smaller. That just gives you an idea how high the water was for that time period for as long as it was.
So there was a wave that was produced?
It started out as a wave, a sound wave that caused it. And it went around the world, but it kept increasing. And the water kept on growing, and it just was just a big wave that kept growing and growing. And like all the water kept, it came in like a wave, and then it just kept rising, if that makes sense. I guess you can call it a tsunami type of deal. It comes in as a wave, and then there's one higher pier, and then another wave comes in as another higher pier, and the water keeps on getting higher and higher like that. And it was going to extravagance of like 50 foot to 100 foot over time periods. So it'll be like springtime, it went up 50 foot, and then fall time, it went up another 50 foot. So that year it went up 100 foot. So the next year it could do the same thing up to a 50 foot and a 50 foot, which is another 100 foot. So that's the type of thing that happened with the water world that came through. So the bankers was on the moon from Mu and got their money and their assets up there while Earth is flooded.
They have the elongated head.
That's what, yeah. They also, see, during that time period and those wars, before the wars started, people was starting to get there was starting to be signs of corruption type of deal going on in the societies around the pyramids and stuff like that. And the innocent people were all looking around trying to figure out who is thieving from our country and however. And we were the elongated skulls coming off of they came from the planets somewheres, one of the planets, through the moon though. They came through the moon to here, and they were the elongated skulls. Any old Egyptian artoglyphs or however, if they had the elongated skulls, we were in the works against them, and they were in our government systems. So that's why you see these elongated skulls, because they're trying to say that these are good people. Are they all good? Are they all bad? Well, they're just like us. Not all of them are good and not all of them are bad. You know, they are what they are. Some are there to help others, and some are there to, fill their pockets because they only got a short time to live, or whatever's in their mindsets, So these people was taken from these aliens, I should call them, was taken from the good people of the land. The hairy ones, us, humans, and then Titans. We was the tall people of the time, and they were tall too, but they had the elongated skulls. Us tall people had to deal with them. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going with That's what I first received, was that they were Anunnakis. But for some reason, it was like, that was the classification of what the people called them. But that wasn't what they were. They weren't the Anunnaki on the planet. They were the, trying to remember the name. It's like a star galaxy out there. It's not the Pleiadians. It was the other ones out there. Orion. Yeah. They were not from the Orion tribe, but they are from within the surrounding of Orion, as in like they are on the borderline of Orion. So they were kind of like kicked out from Orion type of deal, but not like they were from Orion. That makes sense. They're right there on the edge of Orion, one of those planets.
So the moon's related to money, and they have anything to do with the machine?
The moon, from what I'm seeing now, after what Mu has done over the years, they have created the moon as a transport place, transporting for the other star seeds or star
the dark side of the
collectives.
Moon, the dark side of the moon is just a big ass shipping hub.
Yeah, dark side of the moon is a shipping hub. Spirit, physical, whatever. Money making machine. Mu. Moon. Oh, that's the banker closing. Pink moon is the bank's closing, and then opening back up after the moon. It's like they closed the deal, or something like that. It was a higher message from the principalities on the land to close your deals before the moon. For some reason, that's important. Close your deals before the pink moon. For some reason, I hear that echoed through some chamber somewhere, as in like through media, social media somewhere, or something like that. Someone says that. I need to find that person who says that. Yeah, close your account.
Contract.
Close your contracts on the pink moon, before the pink moon. Yeah. Something about that is very valuable for anybody. It's like a spiritual thing too, because they'll also do spiritual contracts too. So close your spiritual contracts before the... I'm seeing now from the dragon, he's showing me that just close your contracts before the moon. Do not open new contracts before the moon. Before the moon, you have your contracts closed and sealed, and know your path before going through the full moon time period, which is also through the pink moon. That's the blood moon, the lamb. You put the blood of the lamb on your door frame to protect you for Passover. That's the same concept, is sealing yourself, protect yourself spiritually and physically before the Passover. That's the Passover, it's the pink moon.